The Jackal is a multi-purpose attack UAV, which can fire multiple missiles.
All right, y'all, welcome to the Common Arms channel. Okay, so today we're checking out something from the British military. So this is about the RAF's Jackal drone. Now, I'm not exactly sure if this is being fielded exactly, but I have seen this in a couple articles, and today we're checking out a video about it. So the Jackal seems like a bit of kind of an in-between from more traditional, larger kind of drones, you know, that would be in the air that you would use for precision drone strikes, and then kind of what we kind of see with like commercial drones. It seems like it's almost trying to bridge that gap, but hopefully this video kind of sheds some light on it. But the fact that the RAF is using it is kind of interesting. I guess that makes sense, considering kind of like what their footprint is and their kind of equipment. They're probably better suited to maintain it and potentially operate it, you know, kind of like with their normal drones. But yeah, it'd be interesting to kind of learn a little bit more about this to see what kind of niche role this thing can specifically fill. So let's get into it. Now they're repaving outside, so you guys might hear some background noise. So if you do, I apologize for that.
Drones are becoming more a part of the modern battlefield, and the wars of the 21st century are being increasingly fought with the development of new tech rather than on the front line. This is why the RAF's Jackal drone is poised to be a game changer when it comes to military weaponry.
So already looking at this thing, it looks like it is a quadcopter kind of setup. So already talking about like the vertical lift capability is huge. Like not actually needing a runway to launch this thing or having somebody kind of like throw it. Not needing a launcher system is awesome. And we're kind of seeing that as like, you know, the focus when it comes to these drones, because I mean, even like the Army is focusing on more of like vertical lift assets. So I think we're kind of going to see that moving forward. I mean, like the Aerosonde or whatever, they also did like a kind of like a vertical lift drone that the Army was using a lot. So I think that's going to be the future. So already kind of seeing that, it makes a lot of sense why they chose that design.
This UAV has proven itself to do a significant task that other drones can't.
Damn,
this
it
might
is
be the
huge.
difference between winning and losing a battle. Let's take a closer look at what that task was and what makes the Jackal so special.
I mean, it looks pretty far into development.
This video and would like to see more
if it's already got weapons on it, it seems like it's pretty far into its development or fielding.
Straight to your notifications.
But I wonder what kind of
The Jackal is a small, lightweight, modular vertical takeoff and landing drone, which is expected to fill a critical position in the future unmanned Air Force concept for advanced combat operations.
So it looks like it's also got like kind of props. So like kind of like an Osprey where it can rotate the blades. This just has props. So I guess it can go faster when it's kind of just moving laterally. But yeah, having the vertical lift capability is going to be important. But having something that can move faster also going to be kind of nice.
The drone platform is the work of Flyby Technology, a UK startup and brainchild of former RAF and Royal Navy fighter pilot John Parker. They worked with Turkish partners Fly BVLOS Technology, an aviation consultant, along with Maxwell Innovations, an aviation component manufacturer, to produce the drone.
It looks kind of goofy though, to be honest.
At Drone Park in Gebze Technical University,
I guess it doesn't matter.
In Turkey at the start of 2022. The catalyst behind the need for such a vehicle was all courtesy of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Once this began, the UK Royal Air Force's Rapid Capabilities Office contacted the UK...
Wait, what? They have a Rapid Capabilities Office?
UK Royal Air Force's Rapid Capabilities Office...
That's kind of interesting. So in the US military, we also have a Rapid Capabilities Office, but it's Rapid Capabilities and Critical Technologies Office. And of course, they kind of oversee a lot of projects that are focusing more on like, you know, modernization and equipment modernization and kind of testing and fielding equipment like this.
Contacted the UK-based drone experts Flyby to give them a brief on their new vehicle. In April of that year, the UAV successfully carried out its first demonstration flight for the Turkish Armed Forces in Ankara. This flight showed how the drone was able to stay in the air for 40 minutes during flight time.
Okay, it's not as big as I thought. I thought they were in front of it for some reason, which doesn't make sense because they're looking this way.
Fly BVLOS Technology then transferred the design and all other licenses for the Jackal to the UK around the same time.
Transferred or sold?
Further, FlyX Technology, a part of Fly BVLOS Technology,
I guess it goes without saying,
on a version of the vehicle at the request of the UK Ministry of Defence to make it battle ready. Flyby also collaborated with another company to discover the potential of firing its lightweight multi-role missile from the Jackal as part of this development.
Jackal. So what? It looks like, so I guess it's like a proprietary missile system, which, I mean, it's cool. And I guess it's kind of difficult to take a drone and outfit it with more of like, you know, like a NLAW or kind of AT4 setup. I mean, again, those are set up to be used by humans. So it's kind of not really possible, I guess, to convert it like this, but okay. I mean, I guess it makes sense for them to have proprietary setups.
The engineering team from Flyby and Thales worked together on a rapid 6-week turnaround to build 2 Jackal drones capable of firing the Thales lightweight multi-role missile.
Okay.
This had never been done before. This new iteration, dubbed Saiha, fired this missile in its first test firing in England towards the end of 2022. In further testing, the UAV successfully fired another Thales missile in a trial with the RAF in the spring of the following year.
Damn, that's quick for
These tests
testing.
proved the low recoil of the missiles, which meant that the drone could remain stable. This provides a much safer alternative to soldiers advancing with shoulder-fired weapons or crewed helicopters approaching enemy targets. The Jackal.
I mean, yeah, I guess that makes sense. It's kind of hard to compare this to certain things. I wouldn't necessarily compare it to like a tow missile. I wouldn't compare it to a Javelin even. It'd probably be, again, most equivalent to like an NLAW or like an AT4, which, you know, they're going to maintain their role because it's important to have those kind of in a squad or in a platoon at least, just to have those organic weapon systems. But it's nice if you do identify it, or if a forward observer identifies an armored target and it's not, you know, moving, or even if it is moving, it'd be cool if you can send one of these up and go
is a
after
multi-purpose attack UAV which can fire multiple missiles.
like a hunter team or something.
Of 16.4 feet, roughly 5 meters, can carry a significant weight of up to 33 pounds, or about 15 kilograms. It also has an impressive range of 81 miles, or about 130 kilometers, at a maximum altitude of 13,100 feet, which is roughly 4,000 meters.
Solid range, but the lift capability is not great.
Missiles engineered by Thales makes it capable of firing modern weapons in flight to destroy enemy targets. This is its main feature, but another useful attribute is that it has a plug-and-play system that allows it to incorporate new equipment and technologies into the aircraft between missions. This makes the Jackal highly adaptable for battle.
How so?
It can.
Well, what does that mean? Plug and play, like you just remove a module and then you can outfit it with different, I mean, maybe like different Thales rockets systems or something, but probably not anything that other people would have access to, really. It'd be pretty much purpose-based, I think, still for the drone.
It can also be changed during continuous combat situations, which
That's
lets
pretty
it
cool.
comply with future regulatory guidelines and airworthiness standards. On top of this, the Jackal has top-spec technological features like beyond visual line of sight, sub-theater battle group level for tactical attacks, and multispectral sensors for intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance operations. This makes the Jackal stealthy as well as lethal. This UAV can be integrated with Starstreak, a short-range surface-to-air missile, and LMM munitions, as was proved during initial testing.
Using this thing to go after a helicopter would be kind of interesting. I'd imagine for like fixed wing, unless you have like some stingers on this thing, it's probably not going to work great against that. But yeah, when it comes to like a helicopter, I mean, they do have countermeasures, and this thing doesn't look like you can carry more than 2 at a time, even with the other munitions and stuff. But it would be interesting to kind of see that in play, I guess, or in development as far as trying to develop doctrine. But I guess it's really dependent on the weapons and, yeah, again, kind of what helicopter or whatever you're going after.
It has an operational range of up to 93 miles, or 150 kilometers, on secure C2 links. The other way Flyby has made the Jackal stealthy is through the engineering of its engines and propulsion. It has 4 sets of twin contra-rotating propellers. This lets it take off, hover, and land vertically. During the testing phase, power for the 2 pairs of rotors and the electric ducted fans came from batteries. But production versions will instead use a turbo generator. These will be 4 wing-mounted electric ducted fan engines to move forward and maneuver at high speeds. The drone is capable of impressive speeds, a maximum of 99 miles per hour, or roughly 160 kilometers per hour, with a cruising speed of
Really?
67 miles per hour or 108 kilometers per hour.
That's pretty
Another
awesome.
huge advantage of the
When you're talking
Jackal
about
is
like
that it
pushing this
doesn't
thing out
need a runway
quickly.
to get airborne. This is a massive plus when it comes to getting weapons into the sky quickly. Runways are typically weak during battle and act as...
I mean, but it doesn't really look like it has like an airfoil per se. So even if you use these, you probably still need to be using the 4 blades. I mean, that's so tricky. I mean, again, it doesn't look like it has an airfoil, so it can't kind of like glide forward kind of thing. But it seems like it'd be kind of loud. I know they're talking about it's stealthy, but it's still kind of a big quadcopter. So it'd be interesting to kind of hear this thing, especially when it's going at its cruising speed.
as an easy target. Instead, the Jackal is able to take off and land from hidden locations, like woods and urban areas. Also, another thing that the Jackal circumvents versus traditional vehicles is a long development time. Typically, it can take years for an aircraft to be designed and enter service, but with this drone,
Well, that's
it
not
went
like a
from
good
nothing to
comparison when
firing
they're
2
showing like
missiles
those.
in just 6 months. The modular
is fast,
design
though.
we mentioned earlier in the video is another massive advantage. This allows the UAV to be compatible with future equipment and weapons for the advanced battlefield.
But my question is like, I mean, even in Ukraine, we're seeing the effectiveness of these commercial drones with these very cheap kind of munitions, like around $500 munitions that are pretty well suited for taking out like infantry fighting vehicles or armored personnel carriers. It's pretty interesting to see the commercial drones be that effective. And again, like they might not necessarily have the same speed or the same range, the same kind of elevation, but they're very quick, they're very cheap, they're very easy to employ. So this thing, I know it's kind of trying to like bridge the gap or be like kind of like that on steroids, but I feel like cost aside and development aside, there are things that can fill this role, not necessarily as well, especially, you know, with the munitions that are kind of tailor-made for this or whatever. But I don't know necessarily if it's going to get developed fast enough and be relevant enough compared to like commercial drones.
With military equipment developing at such a pace, this is a significant plus point for the drone. The modular capability also provides an option to increase the load carrying and range capacity with new iterations. The Jackal is small and lightweight against other aircraft, which makes it highly maneuverable. This means it can navigate in tight spaces, through narrow alleyways, and fly at high speeds, making it ideal for all kinds of environments. Whilst all of this makes the Jackal
I don't know,
an
maybe not
exciting
urban, to
prospect,
be honest.
what makes it so special is the fact
I mean, in like an urban environment, again, this thing can go pretty high, but it's not really effective. With this munitions right now, it's not effective being high up. So like you'd have to kind of bring it lower, and then you have the risk of it hitting a building or something. So you kind of need to move it slow. And it is big, and it's probably not moving that quick through an urban setting. So it'd be a lot easier to hit this thing when it comes to small arms fire or, you know, any sort of, I guess, munition, surface to air kind of munition that would be able to kind of knock this thing out. But I mean, yeah, when normal small arms can kind of effectively hit it because it's a bigger target, then it's not as well suited in an urban environment compared to other things.
it can be controlled autonomously. Advanced software and sensor technology allow it to navigate difficult spaces with no human interaction. This makes it an excellent asset for military reconnaissance and surveillance operations. And the main thing that will make this weapon more attractive to worldwide military forces is that it can provide affordable unmanned air combat capability to countries that ordinarily don't have resources for attack helicopters or fighter jets needed to survive on the modern battlefield.
Did they say the
It's
cost
no
already?
surprise that this drone has attracted the attention of Ukraine, Iraq, and Taiwan. In fact, Taiwan has committed to a 160-unit launch order, which shows the potential of just how popular these vehicles may become in the future.
Damn, okay. I mean, Taiwan, again, the threat's pretty big for them, and their adversary is going to be very, very modern, so they might not necessarily... And of course, when you're talking about commercial drones, you know, purchasing all that stuff pretty much from China is probably not going to be something that they want to do, you know, per se. And I know there are a lot of companies in Taiwan that are developing these drones as well, but it's kind of interesting to see them pursuing stuff like this.
According to Flyby, Jackal can imitate the capabilities of attack helicopters and fighter jets at a small percentage of the cost and with minimum risk. This represents a double-edged sword for Flyby's founder, and he's developed something truly groundbreaking, but something that threatens the future of his former profession, fighter pilots. According to John Parker himself, the Jackal will let forces sit on the tops of trees and shoot from a distance without being detected. But crucially,
why are you sitting on a tree?
Compromising on speed. Parker has said that the beauty of the aircraft is it is as quick as a manned helicopter in flight. This means the Jackal can shoot in the hover position.
An Apache has a maximum speed of about 227 miles per hour, so I mean, it is an Apache, but like you're not going to compare this thing necessarily to like a Black Hawk because that's just different purposes. So I don't know, weird comparison.
All of this without having to risk the life of a pilot. The Jackal team is now working on plans for full production while the aircraft undergoes further development. The Jackal represents the future of the battlefield.
So I would say this kind of more bridges the gap between like commercial drones and like an attack helicopter. So it seems like it would be interesting to kind of see how it could potentially replace, not necessarily replace, but compete in certain mission sets with like an attack helicopter. But again, like just with how much it can carry, the armament is going to be less effective, less versatile, and it'll just carry less. So kind of quantity wise,
it's already proved capable of launching missiles completely remotely from altitude in landmark tests. This, along with its stealthy design and autonomous functionality, has understandably got the world watching. This project was born out of the Ukrainian conflict, but it's likely to be used all over the world for decades to come. Other defense firms are also developing drones, but the Jackal is believed to be the first of its kind to successfully complete RAF trials. Expect to see a lot more Jackals in the skies of the future. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm kind of just curious. I'm trying to picture this thing in like certain missions, at least when I was in the infantry, thinking of certain things. I mean, having this thing, you know, if you're doing like an assault on an objective, having this thing come in and do like, I don't know, a ground run or something, like a close air support kind of thing, and, you know, weaken some positions would be cool. But again, even if there's like any sort of machine gun, it's probably going to tear this thing up. Again, it can go pretty high, but it seems like with its munitions, it kind of still needs to be pretty low to the ground and makes it more vulnerable to like small arms fire. But again, I don't know. Did they mention the cost of this thing? So one of the comments said that it was 100,000 pounds. I couldn't verify that, at least doing like a cursory Google search. But this thing doesn't look like it's that cheap, to be honest. And again, it's not something that a standard dude, like you need to be trained on this thing for sure. You can't just have like somebody spun up on commercial drones and how to employ them very quick, which would be more effective for the general infantryman. For this, it would be more well suited for kind of being a part of its own unit and kind of being maintained at like a higher level, maybe like a brigade level asset, or maybe even like division level, and having certain hunter killer teams of these things to go against certain armor in preparation of, you know, like kind of a bigger attack. But as far as this supporting infantry, it seems a little bit less likely for that kind of use, I think. I'm definitely curious what you guys think. Again, I'm kind of thinking from the infantry perspective and how this could support the infantry. But a lot of y'all are in a bunch of different jobs, whether it be, you know, artillery, air defense, things of that nature, or more in like Air Force roles as well. So you guys will probably just be able to give like another idea of how this thing could be employed or kind of where it can help bridge certain gaps. But I'm curious what you guys think about this compared to kind of the use of commercial drones like we're seeing in Ukraine, or compared to other things like, you know, an attack helicopter or, you know, drones that can use precision strike munitions from higher up. Of course, I don't think you can really compete, and it's not really trying to compete with stuff like that. But when you're trying to bridge the gap, sometimes you can just kind of fall into obscurity to the point where you're not really filling any role that somebody needs. You know, you can only bridge the gap so much before you kind of get irrelevant. So I'm curious what you guys think about it. But definitely a cool video. Definitely cool to kind of think of how, you know, these systems will be developed and what will be developed and how it can be used. And again, kind of just if it is relevant. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Again, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. If there's anything else to recommend as far as equipment like this that's being developed or being fielded, I'd love to check it out. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. That is it for this one. I'll see you on the next one.